Welcome to the Well Woman Show, where we use intersectional feminism, mindfulness, leadership, and strategy to support smart women to change the world without anxiety, insecurity, and burnout. On the show, we challenge the status quo and support you to unlearn harmful messages that keep you playing small so you can activate your superpowers and live with joy, confidence, and ease. I'm your host, Giovanna Rossi. Hello, well women. Welcome back to the show. For those of you who are regular listeners, and big welcome to the new listeners. I know we have quite a few. I'm really excited to pop in here with a short podcast episode this week, all about embracing the unknown. You know, at this point in the pandemic, if you're listening to this as it publishes, February 2021, we're sort of in this space of, it's not new anymore, but it's also, there are still a lot of unknowns in our lives. And I feel like we're in the home stretch. I see the horizon here as far as getting through the pandemic, but there are still a lot of unknowns. And so I wanted to just talk briefly here about fear, about the challenge of not knowing what's going to happen in any situation, right? Whether it's at work or in our family life or with our health or whatever it is, whatever area of our life, whether it's personal or professional or something we're doing in our public life, there are lots of unknowns all the time. And, fear really can be so gripping and so paralyzing, right? So we all have dealt with that. We're all dealing with that. And so I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about how we can embrace the unknown in a way that's powerful for us. So in a way that doesn't create more deficit, that doesn't put us more in that kind of weak feeling or scared feeling, but is more powerful. So as always, anything that we perceive as a negative can actually be a positive. And so I want to apply that here to say that your fear, your fear is there to protect you in many ways. And fear and excitement are very closely related, right? Like the feeling of excitement can very quickly turn into fear. And so they're very closely related. And fear is not something to fight against, right? It's not something to battle or to win over necessarily. And I love a quote from Liz Gilbert, who of course wrote many books, including Big Magic. And she says, fear, take fear along for the ride, but just don't let it in the driver's seat. Like, don't let it drive the car, but it can come along for the ride. It can be in the passenger seat. It can be in the back seat, right? It's a part of the journey, but it's not driving the car. So I love that for perspective here. And so if you would bring to mind, and you can do this pretty much anywhere that you're listening to this, unless you're driving, obviously don't close your eyes, but just bring to mind, and if it's more comfortable, if you're in a place that you can safely do this, do close your eyes and just take a deep breath and kind of come into your body and bring to mind a time in your life when your excitement and your fear were so closely aligned that you didn't quite know which one was more prominent, but it was definitely a time in your life when you felt like the adult woman version of you was driving the car. It was scary and there were unknowns, and you were aligned with your truth and your power and your confidence, and you felt that courageous part of you, and you felt the powerful adult woman in you. And so let's not be general about this. I'd really love for you to bring to mind a specific incident or a specific time in your life when you were facing the unknown, you were facing fear, and you embodied that adult woman, courageous, powerful version of yourself that knew the answers, that knew the right thing to do, that knew what to say, that took the action that was needed. And just bring that to mind and really feel, what does it feel like? What does that courage feel like? Where do you feel it in your body? And just breathe into that. Where do you feel that in your body? And if you can, maybe just place a hand on that part of your body, whether it's your heart, your head, your arm, wherever you're feeling that courage in your body, just place a hand gently there and just nurture that part of you that is powerful, that is courageous. And knowing that that part of you exists, knowing that version of you is there, being comfortable with that part of you, and letting that courage be seen, letting that power be seen, even in the face of uncertainty, even in the face of not knowing. You know, many of us are dealing with family and friends who are having a really hard time with their health, with their career. There's challenges with family members right now, with kids. There's all kinds of unknowns, right? Like, we're never going to live in a world without unknowns, right? Like, that's just a part of life. And so the more we can embrace the unknown and not let it overpower us, but rather use the uncertainty to power our own energy and our own compassionate response to these situations in our lives. When we can do that, life is much more enjoyable, right? Like, we can live our lives with ease and joy. And isn't that what we all want, right? To live our lives with ease and joy and enjoy our relationships. It's interesting. I was interviewing someone earlier and her interview hasn't aired yet, so you won't have heard this yet, but we were talking about this and just how we're so socialized to achieve these external things, these external goals, in school and education and career, and then family, and checking all the boxes everywhere. And when we can relax from those expectations, and look at what's really important, what's really important, it usually comes down to relationships. Usually comes down to relationships. Relationship with yourself, relationships with your loved ones, with your family members, with your friends, with your colleagues. And we were talking about this and how hard it is to push back against these societal expectations, right? Of perfectionism, of high achieving, of we only value that which makes money. All of these pressures. And this is part of the feminism and mindfulness approach that we take on the Well Woman Show, is to challenge that status quo and say, no, we don't have to do it that way. We can be powerful, thriving women in all areas of our lives. And we can do that with ease and joy. So that's where we are. And that's what I want you to take with you into your week, into your day, and really feel that courageous, powerful woman that you are, and let that be your guide. Let that drive your car. So just a quick podcast today because I just really wanted to share that, and stay tuned for, upcoming episodes with fabulous guests really coming up. I have Anya Creighton from the Library of Congress sharing about career and motherhood. I have Allie Moore, who is a young professional leader who is working with employers to mentor young mothers. And she talks about, the challenges of professionalism and personal growth. And so some really interesting interviews coming up. Stay tuned for those. And as always, if you enjoy the show, definitely check out, if you want to work further on these things, check out the Academy, Well Woman Academy, and come and join our community too at wellwomanlife.com/community. So with that, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.
That's it for our show today. Remember, if you need support to live your Well Woman Life, follow me on Instagram at Well Woman Life, or head over to wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join our community. As a reminder, we are on NPR every week, so be sure to tune in at npr.org/podcasts and search for The Well Woman Show. If you enjoyed today's show, please take a moment and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review. This helps raise visibility, which is super helpful when it comes to producing the show every week. For feedback, comments, or just to let me know you were listening, find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Well Woman Life. I'm Giovanna Rossi for The Well Woman Show. Until next time, have a super powerful week.